Welcome to the Chronically Well podcast, where we hold real conversations with community that need to be heard. On today's episode, you will hear from Charletta. Charletta is from the Washington, D.C. area and currently resides in North Carolina. Charletta is a mother of three, and at the time of the release of this episode, she is the grandmother of four and soon to be five. She is also a chronic illness model and advocate. And as she says, chronically ill, but stay chronically fly. Everything about Charletta is motivating and inspiring, as you will hear it through the entirety of our conversation. Charletta was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes at 23 years young, 24 years ago on New Year's Day. She is one of three siblings that have lived with type 1 diabetes. Her youngest brother was diagnosed around the same age. Charletta also has an older brother, Everett, that was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes around the age of 7. I dedicate this episode to one Everett Lamont, aka Charletta's big brother. Everett transitioned at the very young age of 41 due to complications from diabetes. Thank you, Charletta, for gifting us your presence.
I'm a mother of three daughters. I'm a grandmother of four. I'm just a person right now who I'm a very, very, very big advocate on putting the awareness out there for type 1 diabetes, because my brother actually both of my brothers and I were diagnosed. And so my oldest brother passed away from the disease. So that really, really made me want to get it out there, because a lot of people just don't know about it. So I'm here to, if I can, help save somebody else's life. Tell my story.
And you will, because you just your intro alone is a huge attention getter, because you didn't really say much about you, but in maybe 5 simple lines, you told me you have 2 brothers that also have type 1 diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And the big thing on that, you told me you have a brother who passed from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we will get into that, because I know that has to be a great part of who you are.
Yes.
Where are you from?
I'm originally from DC, but I live in Raleigh, North Carolina now.
I have family members that actually moved down to North Carolina 13 years ago, 12 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so my aunt, my cousins, and I have a cousin, one of my cousins that moved down there, she actually has type 1 diabetes as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's actually a community of people. I just feel like we just need to get together and, get to know each other so we can do this thing all together. Because, a lot of people don't really talk about it, especially African American people. I mean, from what I've seen, all of the walks and things that I've gone to, I've always felt kind of like, can't be the only person that look like me that has type 1 diabetes. I may see a few other people, but it was definitely not a lot. So
Right. I feel the same way, because there was even many years you had siblings that had type 1. I don't know who had it first. We'll get into that, but there was many years, probably 15 years or so, before I met not only another Black person or a person of color with type 1, but another type 1 in general.
Yeah.
And not until maybe the last 4 or 5 years, because I'm in year 21, March 10th. Not until the last 5 years have I actually met many people of color with type 1, and that's via social media.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the social media connect, I would have sworn that I was the only one.
Thank you. Thank you. When I started seeing people, of color, with it, I was like, oh my goodness, like it's somebody else that looks like me. Like, I felt like an outcast,
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I'm just dismissing any other race, but it's just that for me, I just felt like, I don't know. I just feel like our race needs to know about it as well, and have access to the things that we need for it, It's a hard disease to deal with.
It is. And the truly dismissive rate, it starts with dating back to even before the advent of insulin. Because in 1922, when insulin was invented, it was not available for people of color.
Right.
It's hard to find like scholastic reads, but you can find somewhere in the University of Toronto where insulin first was given. There, all of the children that it was administered to were not people of color.
Oh.
Not one. And it was many years before then, before people of color. So we may have great grandparents, great great grandparents, family members that actually passed from type 1.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure we do, because we know that it dates back in our lineage.
Right.
It's autoimmune.
Yeah. See how you educate me? It's education, It's things that I don't know that you may know, and vice versa. So we in this together.
Right. You grew up in the DC area?
Yes.
How many siblings?
I have 2 brothers. Well, oldest brother, that's the one who passed, and then I have a younger brother. He has it as well. So me and my younger brother, we didn't get it till we were in our 20s. My oldest brother, he had it when he was like maybe 7. Yeah, he got it years ago.
To have it at 7 years old, I know that not only was it played a heavy toll on him, but whoever helped take care of him, manage him.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they have stories of restless nights.
Oh, yeah. And see, the thing about that is back then, my mom and my dad, they didn't know anything about diabetes. Like my grandfather, he had diabetes, which was my mom's dad. But it's like, she didn't really know too much, because when she moved away and my grandfather developed it, she wasn't around him a lot. So she really didn't know too much about it. And so the way my brother was diagnosed, she was just like, what's going on? What is this? So she was really clueless about it. And they just kind of threw her out there and didn't give her too much information to take care of him. So.
And that's how it is. Even like today, it's like that as well, but not as bad, because you get to see other people.
Yeah.
But for a child, a person of color, to be diagnosed, I don't know how long ago that was, but for someone to be diagnosed so many years ago, and the family not having any information, the only information they probably were given was information to keep that child alive.
Yeah.
Not information to help that child thrive, to live the most optimal existence here, but just to stay alive. And it's a part of medical malpractice, truly, because if other people were given the information, because I know I can look back and see people that didn't look like us, and they talk about how when they were diagnosed, they had this, they had that. They lived this great life, like they were on vacation.
Yeah.
But
oh my goodness,
we weren't gifted the resources, the education. It was just a struggle to live. And many people leave that hospital with the mindset that, okay, I only can live with this for 20 or 30 years.
Yeah. Yep. You're absolutely right. And it's so crazy, because even when I was diagnosed with it, they gave me such little information that it's so crazy, because when they told me I had to take, a needle for the rest of my life, I was just like, okay, can I come back here and you just give it to me every day? Because I was just like, I'm not giving myself no needle. But I've learned that never say what you can never do, because you will be forced to do some things that you will have to do. So it was just, I don't know, they just kind of threw me out there as well. And I had to learn myself, because I didn't even know I was type 1 until I developed thyroid disease. But they never even gave me a test to tell me whether or not I was type 1 or type 2. Never knew anything about a type 1 or type 2.
Growing up, all you knew was your brother had diabetes. There was no subheading to that. Type 1, type 2 diabetes, just diabetes. We know that different types of diabetes we know today are managed differently.
Right.
There's more that goes into a healthy lifestyle, as living with type 1 or type 2. He may have grown up thinking that, okay, if I do this and that with my diet, it may help better or may even cure me.
Yeah.
I've run into so many people that actually felt that way for many years because, as I said, they weren't given the needed information.
Right. Right. And actually, that's what I was told as well. Like, if you eat right and do this and do that, you know, it'll go away or you'll get cured. You can manage it. And that was just really, hard for me because I was like, I started doing all of that stuff. And I was like, well, why isn't that helping? Why isn't that going away? And actually when my brother was diagnosed, I honestly did not even really know what diabetes was. Like, I just used to see him taking, a shot every day. And he was always in the hospital. I really, honestly, to be honest with you, I really did not even find out what diabetes was until I was diagnosed.
Until you were diagnosed?
Yes. And that was like I think I was 23 at the time. So yeah, I never knew. I just used to see him take it, needles. I'd be like, oh, I ain't no way in the world I can do that. That's all I kept thinking. Like, ain't no way in the world I can get myself, all these needles every day and this and that. And it was just, I don't know. It was just something that first of all, I never thought that I would end up with it, but it was just scary for me to watch him do that. So I was just like, nah, I couldn't do that. It was just such a hard thing to see,
Yeah, and you never knew what your brother was going through until it actually hit you, like basically right in your face. Like you gotta take this. It's wild, and that's why now today I'm sure that we give the information that we have because we don't want people to go through near the struggles that we went through. We want people to know, like, this is what you can do. And even if it comes like family members, everyone that lives with type 1 diabetes has a family member, has friends that think that we talk about it too much. We all have had that. And they're wondering, like, why are they posting about diabetes? Because in their head, when you hear the term diabetes, it still follows with a stigma of, okay, overeating, too much sugar, poor diet, malnutrition, things of that nature. Yeah. But when we consider diabetes, our type 1, even type 2, like we cannot alter our genetic makeup.
Right.
But living today, we can show our family and friends how to live healthier lifestyles.
Yeah.
We can, because we've been forced into it.
Yeah, that's true. Forced into it. And I always tell people, I say, you know what? You can go to the doctor and, get your physicals and everything. Because some people don't like to go to the doctor. But I tell people all the time, don't be forced to have to go to the doctor by not, taking care of yourself, getting information that we're trying to give people. Because I know a lot of people that I have seen, especially when I go to like the walks and stuff, they're little kids. And I was like, these little kids have to live with this disease, which is a hard disease for adults to live with. So I always tell people, like, look at little things that your kids, will say to you, like, if they're constantly thirsty or you see them urinating a lot, just take them to the doctor. Don't always say, oh, you're drinking too much juice or, whatever, because that's what we do. We always say, well, stop drinking so much and you won't be using the bathroom. So, and these kids don't know what's going on with their bodies, just like we didn't know when we were diagnosed, so that's the main thing. It's not that I don't want to help adults, because I definitely want to help adults, but the kids that I see, I feel so bad for them because they can't live a normal life. They can't go and play on the playground and, do whatever they want to do without getting blood sugar checked before they go out there and run and, or have to eat something just to play with their friends,
I often wonder, is it a greater burden on a child that is diagnosed or someone who's diagnosed as an adult? Considering, let's say someone at 1 or 2 years old is diagnosed, that's all they know.
Yeah.
It's almost like being born into a certain religion, political system, things of that nature. It's really
Right.
all you know. So it's right for you. Yeah. And as long as they have the parents that are taking the best care they can of them, especially with today's technology,
Yeah.
the advancements in medical care and chronic health, that
hmm
that they will be able to be their best.
Yeah. And that's so funny that you said that, because as far as that being the only thing that they know, because the first time when I was put on a pump, I had to take a class with a 4-year-old child
Mhm.
to learn how to get on the pump. And let me tell you, I couldn't focus because I was crying so bad
Because of that baby.
because of that baby, watching her learn how to, get on the pump. And I was like, it was hard for me. And I just kept crying. And she was looking at me like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, she shouldn't have to live like this. She should be able to go outside and play. And, I was so bothered by seeing
Mhm.
this child, have to, do the things that I had to do, that I knew was extremely hard. And her parents was like, it's okay, it's okay. That's all she knows, And I was like, that shouldn't be all she knows. She should be able to
Right.
live a normal life.
Right.
But I had to. I'm just a sensitive person anyway, because I'm like, if it was up to me, everybody would be healthy and just living life. But that little girl bothered me, seeing her have to go through that, And her parents was explaining to me that, before she go outside to play on the playground, she has to go to the nurse to get her blood sugar checked and this and that, And I'm like, oh goodness, like, shouldn't have to do that,
So many obstacles, steps that are added into the life of a 4-year-old,
Yeah,
when that's actually time taken off of your life, having to manage,
yeah,
just not being able to just freely have fun and freely be themselves.
mm-hmm,
That's
yeah,
why I love the community that we do have, because we can unapologetically be ourselves. Like, where else can
right,
you just openly have a conversation with someone about a chronic health condition, about type 1 diabetes,
right,
just as you did when you were in that office and that 4-year-old baby was there, you were able to just put out all your emotions there.
yeah,
The baby
yeah.
may have been 4 and mid calm and poised, but you were having the tantrum on that day.
Yes, I was. And she just kept looking at me like, what's wrong with her? Why is she crying? And I was like, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. It's just because I'm a mother
Right,
too,
you're a mother.
you know. And so I was just like, oh my goodness. And that's the one thing that I prayed. Oh my goodness. I prayed like my kids would never have to experience this. But when I was diagnosed, my daughter, my oldest daughter, I believe she was like maybe 8. My middle daughter at the time, I have 3 daughters now, but my middle daughter at the time was, I think, 5. And so now my oldest daughter is 31, then my middle daughter is 26, and my baby girl, she's 18. But when they were like 5 and 8,
Mhm.
I had to train them to give me insulin. Like, they literally saved my life so many times. But I had to train them to give me insulin. And so when people would see them giving me insulin at like 5 years old, people would be so shocked, like, oh my goodness, she's giving you a needle, and like, I had to explain to them, like, yes, I had to teach them how to do this, because they could be the ones to save my life, and when you have a disease that you got to deal with on a daily basis, everyone around you should know what you got to go through. But
So, what do you mean by your children actually saved your life? Because just like this podcast right here,
mm,
it's not just about type 1 diabetes. It's not just about having chronic illness. It's about normalizing everything about us living with this disease and being unapologetically ourselves. So you said your kids actually gave you needles and saved your life.
yeah, it's well, for one thing, like when the first time I had a hypoglycemia episode
Mhm.
was the first time I was diagnosed. I was in a hospital because I was diagnosed on New Year's Day. But what happened was I was in the hospital.
What a
And
celebration.
yeah, I was in the hospital because my blood sugar was so high, and I didn't know. Like I said, I was thirsty, so I'm drinking juice the whole time before I was diagnosed. I'm drinking juices. I'm like, why am I so thirsty to drinking juice? Not
I did this. I did the same thing. I drank lemonade.
Yes, not thinking about no water, And so I didn't know that every time I would drink juice or, so whatever, it would go up higher and higher. And when I would go to work and I couldn't function at work, and then so by my brother being type 1, and I just kept saying, I told my mom and my brother, I was like, I just keep urinating, using the bathroom and this and that. And my brother was like, you should let me test your sugar,
Did your brother diagnose you?
My brother diagnosed me.
My dad diagnosed me.
He was like, you should let me check your sugar. And I was like, check my sugar. And my mother was like, yeah, let him check your sugar, And when he checked my sugar, it didn't even read up on the machine. It just kept blinking high. And he was like, you need to go to the hospital. And I'm like, huh? He's like, you need to go to the hospital. So when I went to the hospital, the first thing they did, they took me straight back. And the first thing they did, they test me and everything, and had to take my blood to some other lab because it was too high for them to tell me what it was.
Right.
But when they came back and they told me I was diabetic, first of all, I went completely off in it, But they told me they had to give me some insulin. And I was like, insulin, so they gave me insulin and everything, and put me on like IVs and everything. But what happened was, and this is why I say the education is important. They kept telling me your blood sugar is so high, we got to get down and everything like that. But when they gave me the insulin, and I'm in I'm in the bed and everything, and all of a sudden I just started feeling like, oh my goodness, like shaking and stuff like that. And I was just like, something is wrong with me, And I was calling the nurses, and I'm like just shaking and everything.
There was an instant drop.
It dropped so quick. I didn't know. They didn't tell me about, that they focused on it being high. So I had no idea about the low. That's the only reason why I was able to figure out what a low was. And they started bringing me all of this juice, drink this, eat it, And I'm like, well, I just thought you said my blood sugar was too high. Now you're giving me juice, and so I was so confused. So anyway, that was the way that I found out about low blood sugars. But when coming back to my kids, one day I just was at one of my oldest daughter. She had a school dance, and we dropped her off at the school dance and everything. And at the time, I was trying to lose a little weight and everything. So I was like, I'm not gonna eat no carbohydrates and this and that, not knowing, because I was never told that we have to have carbs, some type of carbs to balance our insulin. And so I was just like, I got some Chinese food and was like, I'm not gonna eat the rice. I'm just gonna eat, I had shrimp and broccoli. I'm just gonna eat the shrimp and broccoli because, like I said, I was trying to lose a little weight. But at the time, I still had insulin that I was taking.
Okay.
And I'm at my daughter's school, and I decided to stay at her school because I was like, we lived kind of like a little ways from her school. So I was like, you know what? School dance is probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm just gonna stay, So at the time, by the grace of God, my ex-husband had bought a piece of cake from the store that we had. I mean, the store that we went to. And all I know is I just started like having a seizure in the car. Having a seizure, like didn't know what was going on with me. I was having a seizure, passed out. Only thing I knew was when I woke up, the whole school was outside at my car. The paramedics was out there. They handed me candy bar. The principal was like, go get her, open up the candy machine, get her anything in it, And I was like, what happened? They was like, your blood sugar dropped.
So they did know that you were a diabetic?
No, they didn't know I was a diabetic.
No.
They didn't know. My ex-husband knew I was a diabetic, but he didn't even know anything about how the low blood sugars were.
Right.
Just so happened, I don't know, just so happened when they came, he just seen me having a seizure, and he called the paramedics, and I guess he went out, hollering or whatever, like he needed help. And when they called the paramedics, and he told them that I was that I had diabetes, And like I said, he had cake and everything that he had got. So they just feed me the cake and everything. I was just to try to get me to wake up. But I was just so confused because I was just like, what happened to me? I didn't know what happened to me. And they was like, you had a low blood sugar. And from that day, my kids kind of like seen that. And I had started having so many low blood sugars. And I would be home with my kids by themselves.
Was this all like in the beginning stages of your diagnosis? Like
Yeah.
your first few years?
Yeah, in the beginning stages. And, because like I said, they never talked to me about having low blood sugar. They never educated me on, make sure that you eat, eat this or eat that in order to keep your blood sugar regulated. It was just so.
And you may have been going through like an extended honeymoon phase.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where some days you need so much insulin and other days you don't.
Right. Because that's how our bodies do it. It's so crazy how it works like that.
Right.
But I just know my kids, they used to see me having seizures out of nowhere, and they were trained to help me. So they'll call paramedics or they'll give me, I always keep stuff, even to this day. Mm-hmm. I keep stuff in my room, in my car, in my purse. Like everything. It's like
you're speaking to me.
I could possibly,
you're speaking to me. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Because
but yeah, they have saved my life. And the paramedics, one day I woke up, my daughter, she had, called them and she helped me. And they was like, I don't know what you did, but the way that you taught her, you did an excellent job. Because they was like, she called us, she explained to us what was going on. We talked her through it. And she just, they were just praising me for teaching her because they were like, most people don't teach their kids like how to treat them. So I said, you know what? This disease is a disease that is not just for me. It's for everyone that's around me.
Everyone around me.
So,
and today, do you use or do you carry anything like glucagon, Baqsimi, Gvoke?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me show you something. I have my stuff right here.
I do also right here on the desk.
I don't play no games. I don't been there too much. No.
Too many times. Yeah, to have your children have to administer to you to basically save your life is something that people not living with this illness know too much about. They're really just limited to, okay, they take insulin because their sugar's high.
Yeah.
But they don't realize the fact that our blood glucose levels drop. And it's not always due to us doing anything like out of order. It could be due to different things, like you being a female over the years going through different hormonal and fluctuations and changes. Myself, adrenaline spikes my blood sugar more than even carbohydrates and food. Like just being at a concert or watching a basketball game, like those are the main kickers into like what just happened.
Yes. Yeah.
And we do need to educate everyone in our circle on our own management, because when we are facing things such as severe hypoglycemic events, we truly can't manage it.
Yeah.
We can attempt to, and adrenaline will kick in and help us out a little bit. Mm-hmm. But there are some days, sometimes over the years, where we do need that extra guiding support, whether it's your child at 3, 4, 5, 6, because my daughter saved my life at 7 years old.
Yeah.
And we need that, because the altered mind that exists when your blood sugar is too low or too high, many of us who have lived with it for many years don't even understand that.
Yeah.
So for you to be unapologetically able to just explain and tell everyone, get all of this stuff around you. Have your juice, have your candies, have your glucagon, everything you need, because we want to see tomorrow.
Right. Exactly.
Although it's not promised, as long as we're here in the physical, we're going to do everything we can to shape ourselves to be able to stay in this presence.
Right. Absolutely. And the thing that actually by the paramedics having to come and see me so much, they told me, they said, make sure that you get something, some type of card, something like a medical bracelet. Like I have a medical bracelet. I have a type 1 diabetic tattoo.
Do you think that if you were diagnosed at a younger age, growing up in the DC area, would it have affected you a lot differently?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Because, I mean, like I said, my brother, you know, he was diagnosed when we were younger, and you know, we was living in the city. But he was the only person that had it. Nobody else knew what was going on, with him. But we were such a close community where I grew up at. Like everybody was like, I grew up in the '70s, so everybody was like of each other's house, and like it was like a real community.
Right.
So everybody just used to know that my brother was sick all the time. But like I said, nobody never knew what was going on with him. They just knew he was in the hospital all the time. But it would have definitely for me, because I was able to go outside, play, do what I want to do. But it would have definitely affected me a lot growing up if I wasn't able to, just have a normal lifestyle. But he wasn't, he wasn't able to.
Right. I have actually 2 friends that I grew up with. One since 2 years old, that she actually passed from diabetes complications, kidney disease. She had type 1. I never knew. Everyone in her family just said she had diabetes.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a little girl who was maybe 7, 8 years younger than me, who grew up 2 doors away from me, and she had type 1, and she passed away at 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I always wonder, like, if I grew up in a different not a different era, but in a different area, would that have changed how not only I manage, but the management of other people? Because we come from a community that I wouldn't say that we hide what we go through. It's just we don't receive the education, experience, and knowledge of it. So we don't have that to give to people.
Right.
So if we know better, we do better.
Exactly.
But if, like I said, if you see that they say people with type 1 diabetes live 20 to 30 years, that's what you're going to have in your mind for a while.
Yeah. And I don't think, not to cut you off, I don't think that should be something that they tell people.
Not at all.
Because I don't know if they have ever, like, I guess for me, like even with my baby girl, my 18-year-old, she was the only one that I was diagnosed with pregnant with when I had diabetes. Mm-hmm. Because my older 2, I didn't have it with them. But I went through such a hard time dealing with pregnancy and having diabetes. And when I tell you, first of all, being pregnant is hard as it is, trying to, control your cravings and this and that, and you're eating for 2. So, that baby takes a lot out of you, And the thing about it is, I would go to the hospital and I would go to the doctors and everything. And because my diabetes was so out of control when I was pregnant, I'm like, my hormones was all over the place and things like that. And like you said before, your adrenaline raises your blood sugar and this and that, I tried to, they would be like, well, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Right. They always ask, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm living.
Right. Like I'm literally doing everything you tell me to do. It just don't work. But I remember me having a appointment to get some blood work done and everything like that. And they called me at work and everything. They wanted me to come in. And because they was like, like your A1C is high, your potassium is high, like all this stuff was just off. And I was just like, well, I don't know, And so one of my doctors had told me, she was like, you may not live, to reach 40. And if your sugars are staying this way, you may not live to reach 40. And when she told me that, she just told me that like we were just having like, what do you want from us today?
Like a regular conversation.
Yeah, a regular conversation. And I was like, what do you mean I might not live to reach 40? She was like, the way your blood sugars are and this and that, you're not controlling it, you're not keeping it. I said, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And that's the thing that I cannot stand is when you do what you're supposed to do, but because the doctors, they're not living with it. All they have is the education from the bookwork and everything like that. We're the ones who know about it.
To tell someone that you're not going to live to a certain age because you have it is not what should be told. What should be told is what you can do to live to a certain age with it and extend that. Because today, people with diabetes are living the same, equal to, or more than people without diabetes. Because now we have the education on what we can do, how we can extend our lives, like I said, the healthy lifestyle, livings, and things of that nature. Because upon diagnosis, we have in our mind that basically insulin is the cure.
Exactly. And yes, and that's what
it's almost like a Band-Aid.
It's right. And when she told me that, she said, you know, you probably won't live to 40. And imagine, I was pregnant too. So I'm like, okay, I have a baby on the way and everything. You're telling me this. So that messed me up. Completely messed me up.
Yes,
because
mentally.
After that, every year that came close to 40, I was scared. Like, oh my goodness, I'm almost 40. I keep having all these different, you know, things that I'm going through with this disease. I look forward to not living past 40 because that's what I was told. And then by my brother, he passed away at 41. So that's when I tell you I went through like, oh my goodness, I went through a deep depression and anxiety went to 10. And all I kept thinking was, the closer I get to 40, the closer I get to 40, like, am I going to make it to 40? Am I going to make it past 40? You know, so when I got to 40, I was like, yes, I made it, you know, and it sounds crazy, but when somebody tells you that, that's a professional medical, you know, person, it's like, and I'm a big believer in God and everything, and I have my faith, but it was just that by her being, I guess, a doctor and everything, and she's telling me that, it kind of threw me off a little bit, you know, and I was like, oh my goodness, like.
Right, she instilled and elevated fear in you.
Yes.
Because she was coming from a place or a space where, I don't know if scare tactics were taught to her, and those scare tactics, she may feel as though they better someone, but at the same time, she wasn't doing anything to better you. She may have been thinking of the physical sense, but we have to, in this day and age, know that we have to treat physical and mental health equally.
Yes.
You cannot be at your most optimal physical strength without equally being there mentally. Because the strains and stressors that we go through on a regular, just by having to manage a chronic health condition.
Yes.
Like it's a lot. Seriously, I wouldn't wish it upon anyone.
Yes. Absolutely. You're right. It's a lot. It's a lot. But I don't know. I mean, and that's another thing. It's like, to me, chronic illness and mental illness, they're like brother and sister. It's like they married. You know what I mean? Like brother, sister, husband and wife, they're married to each other. Because there's no way in the world that you can be physically sick every day and told that, you know, it's no cure for it. Because I'm like I said, I'm a person of faith, so I speak healing all the time.
Yep, speaking into existence.
Yes, speaking into existence. I'm like, even if it don't happen in this lifetime while I'm still here, I'm like, you know what? It's gonna be a cure. We speaking healing. You know, it's gonna be a cure one day. That's what
there will be. There will be.
Yeah,
I feel the same way. Trauma in itself, being diagnosed with a chronic health condition that you have to manage not 24/7, not 365, but non-stop. That word needs to be put in there. People say 365, 24/7, and people think like, okay, because some people say I'm on my job 365, 24/7. Right. No, this is non-stop. I cannot go a second. I cannot give up a day. I cannot give up a week, because if I do give up on that day or that week, it's going to affect me for the remaining days.
Yep. That's right. That's absolutely right.
That's why I love community, because we get to see if that doctor was only able to show you someone who was living with it for 50, 60 years, then that would have changed your whole mindset and mind frame at that time. Instead of you leaving that office and every year you got closer to 40, every time you blew out that candle was a wish for to make it to and past 40. If you were given that, just that mental escape, just knowing that you will make it, or the doctor saying, I will do everything to make sure that you will make it.
Exactly.
Because
sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And it's sometimes not how you say it, it's what you say. You know what I mean? So you got to really think before you say certain things, because it's like, I got to the point that when I did make it past 40, I was like, yes, it's like, yes, And so that built my faith up even more, because I was like, you know what? Forget what the doctors say. It's what God say, because they can tell me that, you can only live 20 years with this disease. But whatever God has for me, if he wants me to live 50 years with this disease, that's what's going to happen, because he has to finally say. So, like I said, I'm a big spiritual person. So you may hear me talk about God often, because I'm very, very big on faith. But and like I said, that doctor, she really instilled like fear in me. And so that kind of every single day meant I was closer to 40. And I was just thinking like, oh my goodness, like what's going to happen to me? Especially because I had so many things going on, so many seizures, like all the time, from low blood sugars, so many high blood sugars. And it just was like this, And I was like, when is it going to be like this? My life is never like as though my blood sugar is, even and just staying in a good space. It's just always up and down. So I just never felt like I was going to have a normal life, So
and you were diagnosed at an age where all of the technology wasn't available.
Right.
Even different types of insulin. You may have, what did you use? Regular insulin?
Yeah, regular insulin. But my brother, when he was diagnosed, they was giving him pig insulin. Believe it or not, pig insulin.
Yep, that pork and beef. Was he diagnosed in the 70s?
Yeah, he was diagnosed, yeah.
Right. I believe it wasn't until maybe 1978 when regular insulin was available. Yeah. So, and like I know many people who were diagnosed even like in the 1950s that are still thriving today in their 70s and 80s. But the difference is that medical advice that they were given, that their families were given from day one, that care, we didn't know that there were special centers available for us. It means a lot to just tell people things. And just because we look a certain way, we vibe a certain way, we believe a certain way, does not mean that we can equally receive the education. Right,
absolutely. Yes. And the one thing about this disease, I always tell people, because people always be like, you don't look like nothing's wrong with you. You don't look, and I say, this disease is an invisible disease. Like, I don't care how I keep myself, because I know from the outside, I can control my outside, control what I wear, what I look, how, but the inside,
they don't want to see. They say you carry it well. They don't see it. They don't want to see what we go through. They don't want to. You want to see diabetes? Let me not give myself this insulin. Let me take off this pump. Let me give myself accidentally too much insulin or overtreat for a meal, and not have anything here to treat that. You want to see diabetes? No, because that's a traumatic experience for me.
Right.
I mean, I care about other people. I'm a true empath at heart, but I care too much about me to want to put myself through that traumatic experience that we go through daily.
The other part about it is they don't know for us, it's not just about us, with the diabetes, taking the insulin and things like that. We also have to worry about the complication of the simplest things for us, stumping our toe, can cause us to have a whole amputation, of our foot or something like that, stepping on a piece of glass or, just whatever. And I tell people all the time, it's so much that comes with this disease, because I've seen people who, had fingers lost, toes lost, whole amputations and stuff like that from the complications of the disease. And I'm telling people all the time, it's not a disease that you just think, oh, you just have diabetes, you can just go exercise, work out, whatever, eat right, and it's gone, Because even people with type 2, I always tell people with type 2, I'm not dismissing what you have at all, because it's hard for you all too. But for me, give me type 2 any day compared to type 1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have any of it. But if I only had to take, let's say, a pill and go exercise and just eat right, that's hard. It's still hard. But I would love to do that any day versus what we have to go through on a daily basis dealing with the type 1, And that's what I try to tell people all the time. It's just such a difference,
So the way that I explain it to people is, because I don't want to live with any chronic health condition, right, is that, say you have a rope and you have a lasso on it and you throw it and you're trying to grab something. You keep grabbing. Even if the rope breaks, you can go ahead and continue grabbing. Living with type 1 diabetes, you don't have that extra grab. Once that lasso breaks, once that rope breaks, everything breaks.
Yeah.
We're on pins and needles. Just how it affects us mentally alone is beyond comprehension. Mm-hmm. That's why, I try to, through my platform, educate people on those things, the burdens of it, the mental aspects of it, because people may even see Charletta physically. If little Sarah down the block stubs her toe, she can still pick up and run a 5K. If we stub our toe, the first thought is about our diabetes. Mm-hmm. Before even going to try and heal that pain from the stubbed toe. That shows that it has a mental, a mental cuff on us. Like, we're chained to this. There is we can't unhook any link and still be connected.
Right. Absolutely.
I truly hope for a cure one day. I do.
Yeah.
Because
we're going to speak into existence. They're going to have a cure. We're going to speak into existence.
They will. They're working on every day. They're working on it. And the way that we see technology and medicine changing the lives as they do today, there's no reason for us not to believe in it.
Right. And I tell you what, I'm so thankful, because I'm so grateful to God, because at first and this is another thing that I hate dealing with, health issues, is the insurance. Because in the beginning, I wanted the insulin pump and I wanted the sensor and everything, because I had so many, like I said, so many seizures. And so I didn't have the sensor to tell me when my blood sugar was dropping and everything. It just was like, I'll be walking one day and all of a sudden my blood sugar dropped, so I didn't have no warning. But I wanted to get, my sensor, I wanted to get my pump and everything, years ago, and they denied me. They didn't, I literally had to fight. And that's another thing. You have to be your own, you have to advocate for yourself. I literally had to fight these people for an insulin pump in my sensor. And it's just like, you got to get your doctors to help you out. They got to write this and that, and it's like.
Prior authorization. Prior authorization.
Yeah. Prior authorization for what? You know that I have this disease. Like, why do I have to go through all of this? I want to live a better life. I need a better quality of life. And so when I got my sensor, thank God. I mean, like I said, I used to have the seizures all the time, but when I got my sensor, I was just like, oh my goodness, so this thing is going to go off before my blood sugar, like, let me know that my blood sugar dropped, and even though with the technology, it helps us a lot, but it's still not a cure. Because sometimes the technology acts up a little bit too.
It's not perfect at all.
Right. And I mean, I've had those experiences as well, but it definitely helps us a lot. And so the quality of life compared to when I was first diagnosed, and my brother, he didn't get a chance to either see insulin pumps and things like that. When he passed away, it wasn't, or they may have started just coming out with that stuff. I don't know. Right. But for him, he didn't get that opportunity. For me, I'm like starting off as a person taking insulin all the time to move into a pump and things like that. And then, sensor. I could truly say the quality of life now is so much better, And like I said, it's not a healer, the pumping things is the sensor is not, it doesn't heal us, but it definitely helps us to be able to say, when we hear that beep, 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 beep. Oh my goodness, stop what you're doing. I don't care I don't care what's going on, stop. I gotta see this blood sugar,
And simple things as just going out for like a brisk walk, you taking your grandchildren to a park or whatnot, like you wouldn't have known your blood sugar was dropping or rising rapidly without that continuous glucose monitor. Because I know I spent days on end taking my children out. I have 3 children. My children are 15, 13, and 10.
Okay.
Days on end taking them out to the parks, even driving different places, going on hikes, doing whatever, doing school activities. And I may have checked my blood sugar when I came home. I may have checked it in the morning. But just knowing that today I have that advanced technology that's going to help me, because I know there were times where I was driving and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. How am I going to make it home? Like going to drop. I remember one time I went to drop my niece off at home. I picked her up from school and she's like, Uncle Will, why aren't you stopping in front of my house? And I'm like, I can't stop. I can't stop. Like, it was like a mind over matter thing.
Right.
My mind was truly controlling every aspect of what I was doing. And my brain was at a capacity where it couldn't function correctly.
Yeah.
So I've drove past her house and drove all the way to my house, which was a few miles away, and just sat in the car while she got out, ran in the house and told my wife something was wrong with me. And my wife ended up taking her home.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary. I've definitely been there before, and another thing that like what the paramedics were telling me before, the reason why you have to let people around you know, or even wear your medical bracelet is because they said that a lot of times people who have diabetes, when they have a low blood sugar and they're out on the street, people would think that they're drunk or something.
True.
Because they're, literally your mind, you can't comprehend. A person could be talking to you and your blood sugar is low. You can't comprehend what they're saying, and they right there in front of your face, and you're like discombobulated, So they were like, always keep something on you to let a person know, like, that this is what you deal with, so they won't treat you as, oh, this person's drunk or high or something like that, because of how it affects us when our blood sugar is low and things like that, Right. And that was just like, that was very educational to me, because I was like, I never thought of it like that, because when you can't really figure out where you at and this and that, first thing people would look at, if they don't know anything about diabetes, they'll be like, oh, they might have been drinking, or they might have been smoking something.
I had a conversation with a young lady yesterday, the same young lady, and she said that she was walking in the DMV area somewhere, and she tripped over a curb because her blood sugar was dropping so fast, and she fell down and she was seizing, and people were laughing at her. thinking that
What?
she was drunk or high.
Yeah,
Instead of
that's
instead of helping her remedy the situation and seeing if she like tending to her, they
yeah.
stood over and laughed at her
Mm,
because everyone, that's American culture thing. They think just because someone acts a certain way that whether that's something mentally wrong or
yeah.
something wrong as far as substance abuse, which do coincide many
Right.
times.
Right.
That's such an American learned thing where instead of us helping people first,
Right.
we have there's a perception that they did this or did that that made them become this. Even as we learn more and more about insulin over the years, everyone I've come across have had a time where someone said to them, "Oh, that happened because you didn't take care of this or you didn't manage that correctly."
Yeah. 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 And it's so crazy. It's like little do you know, I'm doing everything I can possibly every single day to manage this the best way I can. So,
And I can
it's,
tell that you have a true passion in explaining it
yeah,
and telling people. I don't know if that's fresh for you, but I see it and I feel it,
yeah,
that you're actually passionate about letting people know, like, this is my chronic health condition. These are the things
right,
we go through. And
yes,
even if people don't share, like, comment, whatever, they still
hmm,
see it. They still see it, right? Be-
yeah,
and they'll be able to come back around to it whenever they're faced with this.
right, exactly, exactly. Because I say, sometimes, like I said, I just started social media about a year and a half ago because I was just never a social media person, but I was just like, you know what? I've got to get this message out, and how can I get it out? And my kids was like, "Why don't you go on social media?" And then I was like, "I'm going to go on social media, And they were like, "That's the only way that you're going to reach people. You got to put yourself out there, and." And I kept thinking, like, I don't know, people might not want to hear it, or. And I said, you know what? I prayed about it. I said, you know what, God? I feel like this is my purpose because I always ask God. I was like, okay, with me dealing with what I deal with. I couldn't understand my purpose at first. And I was like, I feel like this is definitely my purpose because I had goals and I had dreams that, never looked like this. So I just used it. I was like, whoever want to hear it, they can hear it. Whoever get it, they can get it. As long as I touch somebody, I'm good. But yeah, I'm definitely passionate about it because like I said, just me seeing like the kids and things like that. I don't want nobody to have to deal with this. Nobody. So
Same. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone again. Um,
mhm,
living with a chronic health condition in general. Now,
yeah,
do you live with any other chronic health conditions besides
yeah.
diabetes?
Yeah, I do. I live with thyroid disease, and that right there, that's another thing that I was trying to get out there as well because I ain't even never heard of a thyroid before I developed the disease.
No.
I didn't know what a thyroid was. And people was getting it confused with fibroids, what women go through.
Right.
When I tell them, like, I have thyroid disease, they'll be like, oh, me too, I have it, and I gotta go to get it removed. And I'm like, but
No.
they're only talking about it, as within the women's area and everything. I'm like, no, not fibroids, thyroid. I said we all
Thyroids.
have a thyroid, men and women, and nobody knows what it is unless they deal with it. But it plays a big part in our body.
True.
And the thing about it, when I was diagnosed with thyroid disease, it was right after I had my daughter, and I didn't know. This is really a big thing that I'm into as well is knowing your family history because my dad, he had thyroid. He has thyroid disease. My biological father, he has thyroid disease, and I never knew that he had thyroid disease. Until like I developed it. And it was
Uh,
just like I just knew that something wasn't right with me. like after I had her, I knew something wasn't right with me because I was just like so on edge all the time. And I was just, my heart was palpitating so much. My blood pressure was staying like crazy high. And I was just shaking a lot. Like
So
just
when you
very,
first found out you had thyroid disease, was it hyper or hypo?
it was hyper at first.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it was hyper. And because of me, actually that's how I found out that I was type 1. It's because from me finding out about the thyroid disease, because you see the same specialist for
Correct.
diabetes and
Endocrinologist.
thyroid disease.
And
Yeah, the endocrinologist.
they linked it. They were like, "Oh, you have thyroid disease and diabetes."
Yeah, yeah. And they the ones who asked me. They said they asked me what type I had when I first started going to an endocrinologist, because I didn't even know what an endocrinologist was until I developed the thyroid disease, because I was seeing my primary care for my diabetes at first.
I was also 15 years before I found out what an endocrinologist was.
And that's the thing, and nothing against primary care physicians, but they only know a little bit about diabetes, and a lot of them know more about type 2 than type 1 anyway. So when you are diagnosed, they should give you the opportunity to go to see an endocrinologist, a specialist, for to treat it. Because when I went for the thyroid disease and they asked me what type of diabetes I had, and I was like, I have diabetes.
I have diabetes.
Like, yeah, they was like, well, what type? And I'm like, diabetes. Like, what are you talking about? What type? And they was like, do you have type 1 or type 2? And I was like, I didn't know it was a different type.
All you knew was you take insulin.
Yeah. And they said, well, they didn't do an antibody test on you. And I was like, what is that? And they were like, a test to see whether or not you have type 1 or type 2. And then that's who explained to me the difference. And because, like I said, during this time, I'm going for both diseases now, and I'm going in for my thyroid disease, and they explained it to me about what the diabetes is.
How long ago was this, or how far were you into your diabetes diagnosis?
Well, the thyroid disease, I developed that 18 years ago.
Okay.
And so,
and when did you develop type 1 or diabetes?
Yeah, I developed diabetes 2001, and in 2005 I developed thyroid disease. Yeah, because it was right after I had my baby girl, so around that time. But I just remember them saying, well, we need to do an antibody test on you to see whether or not you're type 1. And I was like, well, okay, so what's the difference? And they was like, we need to see whether or not your pancreas is producing any insulin. And I'm like, okay,
what is that going to change? What is that going to change about me?
Right. But this is the thing. I'm like, what is my pancreas? Like, what is the pancreas doing?
Right.
You didn't even know nothing about and that's what I tell you, the lack of education. Didn't even know that my pancreas had anything to do with the diabetes.
And after hearing that information, you may have said to yourself, I hope once you found out about your pancreas, like, I hope my pancreas is producing insulin. Yes. Then maybe I can get off of this insulin.
Right. But unfortunately, it's not producing any insulin. And I was like, huh? So it was like, you're type 1. You have to take insulin for the rest of your life.
You did get the auto antibody test.
Yeah. And that's why oh my goodness, that's why I'm so passionate. When somebody is diagnosed, immediately, I'm like, tell them to do an antibody test on you. Tell them I don't care what they do, what they say, tell them to do an antibody test on you, because you could be diagnosed for years and not know what type of diabetes you have. Especially
people of color.
Right.
So many of us hear about diabetes in our families, and no one knows what it is. They just hear the term diabetes.
Diabetes, yeah.
And when we know more about like how to manage ourselves, we can extend our lives and live just more peaceful, less stress, more relaxed.
It's definitely something that even with the thyroid disease, when I went to go see the endocrinologist for the thyroid disease, never knew what that was, and so they wanted to do all these different tests and things like that on me, and they gave me forgot the name of the first medication that they gave me, but it broke me out really bad and high. And so I couldn't take it, but I forgot the name of it, but I couldn't take it.
Was
So
it
I was
like
like,
a
okay.
Synthroid or Synthroid?
No, I actually take Synthroid now, but it was a different
levothyroxide.
No. Now I take well because the levothyroxide is the generic brand
Yeah,
of Synthroid.
Synthroid, right?
Yeah, but I forgot what because like I said, this was so long ago. They gave me something and it just broke me out completely, and I was like, I can't take this because I was like looking like a monster, highs everywhere. I don't know, it's crazy, but yeah.
Now, have you ever over the years felt any type way from wearing technology? And when did you start wearing the technology?
The very first time I started wearing it was when I was with the little girl in the class, and that was 2009. But I didn't wear it long because, to be honest with you, it was hard for me to figure it out and try to work at the same time.
What was that? Maybe a Medtronic pump?
It was a Medtronic, yeah. That's the one that had the cord to it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cord, to me, I could never, because you always had it clipped on you somewhere, and and it's just, I didn't like the fact that the cord, you always had to have a pocket or just something with, So anyway, I wore it for like probably less than a year at first. And then I went back on the shot for a while. And then I was like, you know what, these shots are just, Then they came out with another Medtronic device, and got on that. I said I'm gonna try to give it some time, and just work with it as best as I can. So I was on that for some years, but I didn't like the cord part because I never had anywhere to stick it. You know what I mean? To stick,
right.
Like if I had on something like, let's say some sweatpants or something that was kind of loose, it would just always like fall off, And so the reason why I like the cordless is because like I don't have to have it on me with these pumps. You put it, you put it on you, but it's not like something that you have to. Where am I gonna put this cord at now? Because the cord be hanging out and things like that. But don't get me wrong, all of it is a better quality of life, but it's just
right. I equally hear from people who use corded pumps saying that they will never go tubeless. So I'm not going to say that I will never go use a tubed pump, but I started off with Omnipod.
Oh, okay.
And that's the only pump I've used.
Oh, okay.
And I haven't had an issue with it.
Right.
Other than, and I haven't had an issue that I haven't been able to fix or correct.
Yeah.
Just like with any pump, with any system. So, it's ultimately what works best for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Right. Because a lot of people don't have access to the technology that we have. And like you said, they try to stop you from it.
Yeah.
Do you think that was because originally they did not know you were type 1? Because I've heard stories of type 2 diabetics not being able to get access to continuous glucose monitors, insulin pumps.
Yeah. I'm not sure how. I honestly, I really just don't. It's because, like I said, this is just such a. I don't know. This whole medical, pharmaceutical industry is so weird to me because I'm like, even for a type 2, I just feel like if that's a better quality of life for them, because some type 2s are on insulin. So I said, if this is a better quality life for them, give them the pump. What's the difference?
Right. Insulin dependent type 2 is equal to a type 1.
Right. Exactly. And it's just, I feel like everybody should have access to it, whether or not you have good insurance, bad insurance. It's just something that, I just feel like we as people who didn't ask for these diseases, we should have access to the things that we need because, of course, like I said, we didn't ask for it, So it's like we have to live with it. Because I know when I was first diagnosed and I was taking the needle, I would have to buy my insulin, my needles, my strips,
all separately.
All separate, and it was kicking my behind. And I had to make sure that I paid for all of that before I even paid rent, or bought food now because
Right.
this was my way of living. So I had to always budget out money for um my insulin supplies. And Lord knows if you had anything else wrong with you, at the time when you buying all of that stuff. Because then I had high blood pressure, So I was just like, I had about high blood pressure medicine, insulin supply. It was just like, Lord Jesus, why can't I get this for free? So it's just, it's just, I don't know. It's just something that to me, I'm just like, people should have access to this stuff and, but yeah.
Right. The diagnosis of diabetes is so misunderstood.
Mhm.
It's so misunderstood. You gave a briefing on your diagnosis story.
Mhm.
Do you fully remember like that moment I think you said you were at your Jordan age, right?
Oh yeah.
23, right? You were at your
Yeah.
Jordan age. Do you remember like those times, like, because I was diagnosed at 20 years old.
Mhm.
So I remember my life. I remember the journey and path that I was on.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that diabetes altered that. It
It
may have,
definitely did.
it took many years before I came back around and realized where I needed to be in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So did diabetes equally or in any adverse way alter you?
When I was diagnosed, I was in school. I was working full time, and at the time, I only had 2 kids. And also, I was planning a wedding at the same time as well. So I had a lot going on.
Mhm.
Like I was really busy. But when I was diagnosed, I had to stop going to school. I was still working, but I worked for a while because I had to learn this new life for me.
Right.
And then it's kind of like me not feeling well from the diabetes, even though sometimes in our mind we thinking like, okay, I gotta do this, and this. But if your body's like, no, not today, you ain't doing that today, then it's like, you don't have no other choice. You're gonna be either in bed all day or whatever. So yeah, diabetes it definitely altered my life because I had plans, I had goals, just things that I wanted to do. And all of that had to stop. Like all of it had to stop because, like I said, I wasn't just diagnosed with the diabetes. The thyroid disease. I went through the issue with that, and I had the I don't know. I know we were talking about the thyroid disease briefly, but I had to end up having radiation treatment for it, and for my thyroid disease and
Do you have Hashimoto's?
Graves' disease.
Oh, you have Graves' disease.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Another autoimmune condition.
Yeah. And for that was something that was really, 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 and to this day is really still tough on my body, just having the radiation treatment because they told me they didn't want me to have. They said only had two options, and that was surgery and radiation treatment. Because, like I said, my thyroid level was so
So
hyper
high.
that it was just like it was dangerous for my heart and everything. And they was like, we got to get it under control because your heart is just all racing and everything. So they told me, they said,
They didn't
actually now
offer thyroid removal.
that was the you talking about the surgery?
Yeah. You got your
That's what I
thyroid
was saying.
removed?
That's what I was saying. They said that they can either do the surgery or the radiation.
Radiation.
But the only reason why they told me that they didn't want to do the surgery, they was like because I was diabetic and like it was so close to my voice box or something. It was something like that they were saying.
Okay.
They was kind of like on the I think you should do the radiation treatment. I think surgery should be the last option. But really, sometimes we should have like more than one opinion, for
Right.
certain things.
Right.
And I've learned that now. And because the crazy thing about it is, because I didn't know I had thyroid disease, I was feeling something irritated. Like I just kept for a while thinking that it was something wrong with my throat. I just know I was something. It was something.
Always having to clear it.
Yeah,
It felt
it just didn't
fuzzy.
feel good. Let me tell you what I did. Not because like I said, never knew anything about thyroid disease. I went to an
Right.
ear, nose, and throat doctor. And when I went to the nose and throat doctor, you know, when you're in pain or when you're in some type of discomfort, you just want to just get out of it. The nose and throat doctor, they did their little exam or whatever. He did an exam. He talking about it's your tonsils.
Did you get your tonsils removed?
I got my tonsils removed. Thinking, because like I said, in my man, and this is what I hate that I didn't listen to.
So you gave the man more money
and removed something that didn't have to be removed. But because I didn't know no better, and I was just irritated, I was like, something wrong with my throat, you know. Because like I said,
I mean, it may have prevented. Have you had less severe like strep throat or?
Never had a strep throat a day in my life. Never had a strep throat.
And you won't.
Right. But the thing about it is I didn't know. And it's from me, and I was young too, but it's from me not knowing, you know, what was going on with my body. Because like
that
I said,
miseducation.
Miseducation. And then if you don't sometimes go and see multiple doctors, you're going to listen to, because you're going to see a doctor, you're going to listen to what they say sometimes. And you're like, okay, they know what they're talking about. So it must be that, you know, that's how I was thinking. But one of my old managers, he was like, because he was like a get surgery and stuff. He was like, you sure you don't want to go get a second opinion? And I was like, well, it gotta be, you know, I'm thinking like, I went to an throat doctor.
Right.
I went to a specialist, you know, a specialist. So I'm thinking he knows what he's talking about. Remove my tonsils. Oh my goodness.
And how long was it after that you found out it was not a tonsil related issue?
Probably like years later.
Right.
Years.
And it wasn't until you put it together, you're like, okay, autoimmune.
Yes. Yeah. And I felt like an idiot because I was like thinking to myself, like, why didn't I listen to what my manager was saying and go get a second opinion? But I was so irritated with, you know, just not feeling the best. I'm like, I don't like how my throat is feeling all the time, you know. I'm like, I went to a specialist. I didn't go to a regular primary care. This specialist should know what he's talking about. That's how I was thinking.
I mean, you know, sometimes when we're driving vehicles and we get a flat tire, and instead of paying that $250 for that new tire that comes with the full balance and rotation and everything, we pull over and go to whoever's discount shop and get a tire because we want that quick fix. I mean, it's something that you felt as though it would correct it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not knowing that years later that tire will flatten again.
Absolutely. And I just knew, like, I don't know, I just knew my body just wasn't right. I was irritable. I was just like just always jittery. But like I said, when I had the meeting with my endocrinologist, they was like, you know, well, something has to be done because you can't live like this with your heart racing all the time and everything. They was like, it's dangerous on your heart, you know. And so when they told me I just had two choices, I was like, well, I'll go with the radiation treatment. And they told me, they said, well, it takes you're not going to feel the effects of it until like 3 months later after you do the radiation treatment. And I feel for people who has cancer, like my mom, she has stage 4 cancer right now. And so people with cancer who have to do the constant radiation and constant chemo and stuff like that, that one thing of radiation for me, I'm not gonna lie, it done something to my body and never been the same. But this is how they gave me the radiation. They said you'll take a radiation. It was radiation oblation, something like that. It was a pill. Radiation pill. I'm saying the name wrong. I don't know. I got to get back to you with the name. It was so long ago. I was like, okay, I'll do it. They told me, they said, once you take the pill, you can't be around your kids. You can't eat regular, you know, out of regular spoons or forks. You have to use like plasticware. When you go to the bathroom, you got to flush the toilet like 3 times. They wanted me to stay in a hotel room
because of
so much radiation.
Okay.
But they brought the radiation in, the radiation pill. This man had a hazmat suit on. He brought the radiation pill in with tongues,
Do they still use that same pill?
I don't know. You know what? And I need to probably figure that out. I don't know, because like I said, I'm trying to really educate people on the thyroid disease as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But when he brought it to me, I was like, "What is this? Like, why are you dressed up like that? Like looking like like you about to go out of space,
Right, like he found ET.
Yeah, I said, how potent is this medicine that you got it dressed up and all of this stuff and like hand it to me with the tongues and everything? And they said because it's so powerful, giving off of radiation, your body's going to be getting off radiation for a while, and we don't need to be like kids.
Hold on. Was it a radio? What is it called? Iodine.
Iodine, yeah.
Radio iodine.
Yeah, okay. But it was in a pill form. Yeah. But I don't know. Once they
they normally use that for thyroid cancer.
Say that again.
They typically use that pill for thyroid cancer.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That was another thing that I was kind of like scared about, because I was like, well, if it's radiation, why am I using it for thyroid?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Like I said, when you don't know, you don't know.
Right. You do whatever you can to heal.
Yeah. But that thing, I mean, they said that you don't feel the effects of it until like 3 months later. I mean, when I tell you in 3 months, my body had changed. Like, you see how short my hair is now, right? I had like a little, probably like the top was like probably like that much longer. All I know is I used to feel like something, I felt like I thought it was something crawling on me or something, and I would look and it was my hair.
Right.
And I'm like, what in the world? Why is my hair coming out? And it was from the radiation, the radiation treatment. The texture of my hair changed. It got so brittle and so like hard and everything.
Mm-hmm.
My body, the heat tolerance, I was cold, free. It would be 100 and some degrees outside.
Was managing your diabetes at that time? Like, how was that? Going through all that?
It was still crazy because my body was just like, I felt like my body was fighting me. I felt like my body did not like me at all. I was like, it was me against my body, my own body,
And today it's healing.
Yeah. And I just felt like, okay, I got to deal with this diabetes, and now I got to deal with the effects from this radiation treatment. And I was never in a predicament that I have felt so cold in the summertime. Like, literally, I had the heater on in the summertime. I had like blankets just wrapped around me. I was freezing. Like, I don't know, it totally messed me up. And there was other things. Weight, it started making me gain weight because it went from hypo to hypo. I'm sorry, hyper to hypo. Yeah.
Have you ever
too much in my thyroid?
Have you ever been tested for Hashimoto's, which is autoimmune thyroid disease? Many people who have type 1 diabetes have Hashimoto's. So if you can remember that name, I'll send you a link to it.
Yeah.
Yes, if you have Hashimoto's, then know that that's autoimmune. So that came along with your type 1 diabetes.
And somebody else had asked me that. They said, did that work together? And I was like, not that I know of. I don't, because like I said, when you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But I started thinking about it. I was like, once my specialist was telling me, like, they specialize in metabolism, issue, because the thyroid disease, it plays with your metabolism and things like that, and the diabetes, all that stuff is hormonal. I'm sorry, hormonal. The diabetes is, like it plays with the hormones and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also from the thyroid disease. But anyway, it was messing with my metabolism so much, and I had started gaining all this weight. And I was like, what is going on? I'm still eating the same. Matter of fact, I was eating less and still gaining weight with no reason at all. And they was like, that's because your thyroid level is hypo now.
Hypo.
So I was like, but I'm not eating anything. And it was like, it doesn't even matter. When your thyroid level, like now, it's off. It's hypo, it's very off. I just did a test about a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, I take my medicine every day. Sometimes it'll be okay. Other times, just like the diabetes, other times it'll go back to hyper because it'll be like I'm taking too much medicine.
Now, do you know how high your thyroid levels are currently?
See, I look at my little I have do my chart. So what I do is I look at the little scale and it'll kind of give me like a little diagram or whatever of it. And
now, do you know if it's like 5 point something or 10 point something?
You know what? That's another thing. Brain fog.
Look,
oh my goodness,
I deal with it as well.
I can't remember nothing. Okay,
I dealt with it
I actually
as well.
did. Yeah,
I have severe brain fog and memory, just from point A to point B.
Yeah.
Memory loss.
Yes.
So, yeah, I have to jot down everything. It is.
It's really scary. And I'm like, I can sit up there and I can look at something and I can, and I'm like, okay. Literally a couple of minutes later, I'm like, okay, what did I what was I going to do? And I have to ask my kids sometimes, what was the last thing I said? Or what was the last thing? And it's just
I do that often. I ask my wife, what was I doing? Or what was it that I said?
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is that I have cameras. I have one outside my house and one indoor. And I have at least once a week, I have to go back on that camera to see what I was doing, or where I placed something.
Yeah.
Like, where did I place that? I have no clue. So I have to track on those cameras to see when I actually did something.
Yeah.
That's a great advancement in technology, allowing me to do that.
Right.
So we are winding down, but I'm not going to let you go without fully gifting the community everything you have to gift. But I did want to ask a few things. Have you yourself ever considered like having your kids or your grandkids do anything like trial net?
You mean testing them for
for auto antibodies?
My kids, I wanted to do it, but my kids like, no, I don't want to know that. And I'm like, listen.
Right. If you've lived with it, then you know you don't want to be in DKA upon diagnosis.
Right. And they just like, no, I don't want to do that. And of course I can't let my grandkids do it without their permission.
Right. I understand I understand that fear also. As persons living with chronic health conditions, we know that it's better to know than the opposing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But, I'm sure eventually you can get them. You'll let her know and share the information. I'll share resources, and you can send her to my page. But I know what you're going to ask me. Yes, I have gotten my kids tested, and none of them have any auto antibodies.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
Yep. Yeah, I know waiting for the results to come back, I may have been a little nervous or whatnot, looking at my kids, go to the bathroom and things like, let me check your finger because you just went to the bathroom an hour ago.
Yes.
But exactly. Dad, I was drinking a soda or this and that, or I'm not doing the same thing in the bathroom. Yeah, yes. But I have.
Let me ask you one question before we go. Did you ever develop anything with your kidneys? Because I developed chronic kidney disease from my diabetes.
Okay, so you have chronic kidney disease? Do you go through dialysis?
I don't go through dialysis because it's stage 3, but they have me on this medicine that kind of helps protect my kidneys. So it's like, they're like, if
do you get your levels checked regularly?
I have to, yes. Okay. Often.
Yeah, my kidneys function has been 100% clear. Now a few months ago, because I've been taking I was taking a medication, meloxicam, that helped with my chronic pain and brain fog.
Mm.
And that I found out that that medication actually does raise my kidney levels. So I had this, it was like slightly raised by like 0.25.
Right. Okay.
So as soon as I eliminated that, I went back 2 months later to get blood work, and it was back to normal levels.
Oh, okay. That's good. Okay.
But yeah, my dad lives with chronic kidney disease. He's
Mm.
end stage renal failure, so he's on a transplant list.
Oh, wow.
The same with my cousin that's type 1. She's 28, and yeah, she has chronic kidney disease as well.
Oh, okay.
And it is directly related to your diabetes, but as
Mhm.
I tell everyone, it's not at your fault, because 9 out of 10 people that I know with chronic kidney disease, they did not know that living a certain lifestyle, you're giving your medication, you're giving your insulin, things of that nature, but no one ever told you, because
Right.
they feared the lows so much. They didn't tell you the complications that could occur from high blood
Right.
sugars, from the
Yep.
stress on the body.
It
And
is.
it's a treatment. I was talking to my dad about that the other day, and he's like, he just he always goes into it upbeat, and everyone knows him there as the guy that's going to make him feel good, because
Yeah.
he's like, we're living with this chronic illness, but we still have our lives.
Right. Right.
Some people wake up daily and they're in sorrow,
Mm.
but if you know that you're going to make it to the next day, which we
Mhm.
know we're going to make it to the next day, then we got to be not only uplift ourselves, but uplift everyone around us, our community.
You're right about that. Well, I'm so glad that we had this discussion, and you know,
Now,
I feel like it's going to make a difference.
it is. I did want to ask you about something, because you did put in your notes about like depression and anxiety.
Mhm.
And the first thing you mentioned when I asked you to introduce yourself was about your brothers.
Yeah.
So this podcast that I'm doing here is a podcast for the people, so that it gives you a chance, not only in healing, but it gives you a chance to be authentically you, and it
Mhm.
also gives us a chance to honor those that lived through this, that
Yes.
continue to live through this, those that are here and those that are no longer with us. So I want to give this space to you, to your family, to your brothers, because as I said in the opening, my siblings are equal to me.
Mhm. Right.
And for you to lose your brother at such a young age,
Mhm.
I know that that affected you from that day and that point for moving forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's the depression came. Actually, I'm the one who got the phone call from the hospital when he passed. So, and that was so crazy to me because I wasn't. He always had me on his list as like the secondary person, like as far as you got to give the person your information just in case
Right.
for of emergency.
I always have
And
my brother as that. It's my wife, then my brother.
right, right. And they couldn't get in contact with my mom, so I had moved here. He was still living, in DC and everything, and I moved here. So when it's actually a few months after I moved here, and when they called me, I was so used to him being in the hospital, like literally the hospital staff knew him because he was there so much.
Mhm.
And so, because he had gastroparesis, I'm telling you, we can go all day long. Yes, I had dealt with that too. But
Mhm.
so the hospital knew him and everything like that. So we were always used to him being in the hospital. So when we seen the phone number, he was in the hospital so much that we knew the phone number by heart. Like,
Mhm.
when the phone ring, and we already know that it's him in the hospital and everything. But this was stuff that he did all the time: go in the hospital, get treated, stay in there for a few weeks, whatever, and then came home. Just years. So when he went in the hospital, we never even thought like that he wasn't coming home because we were just used to him coming home.
It was a part of his process.
His process, yeah. But this particular day, like I said, I was living here. um, my mom said that I think somebody was supposed to pick him up the next day. The day that he died, somebody was supposed to pick him up from the hospital because he was supposed to leave that day, getting dismissed. But my phone rang in the morning. I was getting my daughter ready for school. My phone rang in the morning, and it was the hospital, and it was like a nurse, and she was like, we needed to come up to the hospital and everything like that because, they're like working with him and I was like, what do you mean working with him? And they're like trying to, resuscitate him and everything. And I'm like, what? I was so confused. And they were like, telling us about, and I don't know if you ever been in a hospital and you were like in a room that was right beside the nurse's station.
Yes.
So you can kind of hear stuff that goes on.
Right, you can hear those conversations.
Yeah. And so by her being at the nurse's station, his room was right there. And I could hear that noise, when they try to like that beep, beep, beep and all of that I can hear the noise on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So when she was telling me about they try to resuscitate him, and she was like, I'm going to call you back. Let me see what the doctor's saying and everything. I was like, I do not want to get this phone call. Something in my spirit said when they called me back, because of all the commotion I heard in the background, I was like, when they call me back, it's not going to be good. It's just not going to be good. And I had I called my aunt because I couldn't get in contact with my mom. My mother was at work, but she was working a different shift. And I called my aunt and I was telling my aunt what happened. As I'm telling my aunt, my phone rang, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's the hospital. And she was like, answer. I was like, I don't want to answer. I do not want to answer because if they tell me what I think that they're going to tell me, I'm going to lose it, And I was like, I don't want to answer it. I don't want to answer it. She was like, just answer the phone, but click me on. So I was like, okay. So I answered the phone and I said, hold on, can I click my aunt on? I could tell by the doctor's voice when as soon as he started speaking, well, he was saying, this is what we tried to do. So when he said this, we were trying to do this, I already knew because I'm like, you're speaking as if something happened, And my aunt was like, she was just like, did he make it and everything? And when soon as somebody say, I'm sorry, I'm sorry to tell you, he didn't make it. I mean, when I tell you, I think I almost passed out because I was just like, here he is. First of all, with the same disease that I deal with. I was told that I wouldn't make it past 40. He was 41. Okay.
That's why you always had to make it to that 40.
I always had to make it to that 40. But seeing him go through that, everything that he had went through, and then losing his life at, such a young age, I was like, oh my goodness, like, is it going to be me next? That's how I kept thinking. Is it going to be me next? It just drove me to the point that my anxiety went to 20 instead of 10. It went to 20, and I was like, hey, this disease is not something that I want to die from, And in my mind, that's what I thought for years. Like,
it was almost like it was the expected, because if your brother passed from it and you both carry the same genetic makeup, then what's stopping you from?
Right. And everything that I seen him go through, I had started to go through with the gastroparesis, the going in and out the hospital so much, and like just every single thing that he was going through, I was going through. I had started going through, and I was just like, it scared me so bad. And I was, to this day, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm on depression medicine and anxiety medicine because this disease has affected me in so many different ways. And then, like I said, seeing what my brother dealt with and having to go through me getting the phone, I was like, why am I the one who had to get the phone call and hear everything, Right. And then I had to be the one to tell my mother. So yeah, it definitely played a part with the depression and anxiety because, nobody wants to, it's just like a person with cancer. If you develop cancer, and someone that develops cancer, then you end up developing it, same type of cancer, and they pass away, you're gonna be thinking like, oh my goodness, like, is that gonna be me? So But yeah, it's the depression definitely plays a big part in it. And then just me not being able to do the things that I want to do. You know, I'm gonna be honest, because I'm being transparent. Like I cry a lot often because when I don't feel well physically, it makes me not feel well mentally. So I cry. I'm crying all the time. But then I get myself together. I give myself a few minutes to cry it out, and then I'm like, get up, get yourself together.
Your brother at 41 years old, 41 years young.
Mm-hmm.
That is the age that I am today. I'm 41 years young, and I know that he wasn't gifted the opportunity to live the fun-filled life from day one, really.
Right.
And his fight for the remainder of his days was to live. And I know, as a person living with multiple chronic health conditions, that we fight all day, every day. And your brother fought all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad, profound, that he has someone like you here still today to continue living the life that they told us, they told him, they told you that you weren't capable of living.
Right.
You are showing, you are embodying yourself and him as you continue on this journey we call life.
Mm-hmm.
Because every day is a process of healing. As I tell my 15-year-old, as he matures into a man, just yesterday, because I cut my boys' hair. They love it when I cut their hair.
Mm-hmm.
As I'm cutting his hair, and I'm telling him, as we're watching Genius, the new film on Dr. King and Malcolm X,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling him that as you mature into a man, one great part of you, of showing you maturing and becoming an adult, is the ability to share emotion.
Yeah.
Because if you've lived through an experience, showing emotion is a part of that healing process.
Mm-hmm.
It's a part of adulting.
Yes.
As kids, our lives should be fun-filled with zero worries. But
Right.
your brother had many worries.
Yep.
And as you said, up until all those years, looking towards your 40th birthday, you had many worries. Even today,
Mm-hmm.
as we live through these chronic illnesses, we have many worries.
Yeah.
But we are always keeping that one foot in front of the other, staying 10 toes down, learning, educating, getting as many resources and guided support as we can, so that we can live our best lives.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I know that your brother, he's smiling because you're shining.
Yeah.
He's
And
smiling because you're shining.
right. And it's so crazy that you said that you cut your kids' hair, because my brother told me how to cut. Like I do my own hair. I cut my own hair.
Oh.
And that was something that he did do. He was a barber. Like even though he couldn't really work full time, he did try to, try to cut hair and do things that he could do when he can do it. But he used to cut my hair for me, and then when he wasn't able to cut it, he taught me how to cut it, myself, and saved me a lot of money for years. And like I said, I'm still cutting my own hair now. So it's funny that you said that you cut your kids' hair and everything, because it just made me think about him. But
He's not leaving you. He's not leaving you. Every time you got that what you got, that number 2 guard on. Every time you got that number 2 on, he's like,
yes,
that's the right one, sis.
yes, yes,
Yes. Look, I love life. I love the process that is healing. I love the
hmm
process that is being our authentic selves, and you've
yeah,
given me all of that. And you said your baby brother also,
yep. My younger
has,
brother, he has it as well.
when was he diagnosed?
He was diagnosed in his 20s as well. Matter of fact, I think we were diagnosed around the same age. But yeah, we were diagnosed around the same age, around like 24. He might have been like 23. I think I was 24. He might have been like 23 when he was diagnosed. But yeah, he has it as well.
Right.
But
And that's his story.
yeah, it's so crazy because each one of us lives a little bit different with the disease. I'm more so, I think it's because the things I've been through with it, from the low blood sugars and the things like that, it has me on edge all the time. So that's why I say I'm keeping stuff with me everywhere I go, in my car, my room, like, everything. And I'm like the big sister to him. So I'm always like, when I see him, do you got enough candy with you? Do you got enough glucose tablets with you? It's like I'm like the mother. And I'm like, when you use it to treat your blood sugar, replace it. And don't wait to replace it. Replace it right then and there, because if you need it again, you'll know it's there. And
Right.
so he's like, you always preaching. And I'm like, yes, because you already know that we already lost one person with it. And if I didn't love you, first of all, I wouldn't care if if you had candy or anything with you. But I'm not that type of person. I'm like the mother of everybody.
Right.
So I'm like, make sure that you keep something in your car. If your car breaks down, make sure you got something in your trunk for treating, because that's how I'm always thinking the worst with this disease before the best, you know what I mean? Because it's like, I have to kind of think ahead
I
and
mean,
like,
when we think about it, in reality, is there a better or best with this disease?
no, no, not at all. It's just, I don't know. It's just, and I hate that, but it's just, I don't know. I'm always trying to get him prepared, because my mom has had to help him. And like I said, she has stage 4 cancer. So my mom has had to help him with his, hypoglycemic episodes as well. And my dad recently just passed. My stepdad, he's not my stepdad, he's my dad.
He's your dad. He raised
Yeah.
he's the man that
Yes.
gave you everything you needed in this world, in this life.
Exactly. And they were older, so so they would have to help him when he had his hypoglycemic episodes and stuff like that. And so, it's I tell him all the time, I'm like, my mom, she don't know how to use all of this technology stuff. So when he have these things, she's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? I don't know anything about these things. Do I give him insulin? Do I do, use the thing to give him insulin when he needs, if it's high, too high? Like, she just all over the place. And then I'm like, Mom, just make sure he got some glucose tablets. Make sure you can call the paramedics, whatever he needs. Just make sure you got it around, just in case he don't have it, And I don't know. Like I tell him all the time, just make sure that you're keeping up with this stuff, because you don't want to be somewhere and don't have what you need.
That's why I love building communities. That's what I do greatly with like with my page and on Instagram, whatever. I build communities because I know that many people go days without having the resources that are needed.
Yeah.
Whether you're rationing insulin, which a lot of us have lived through, because we didn't know that we could actually kill ourselves from going even hours without having insulin,
Right.
because the cost and the expense of it. We don't know that there are people out there who have technology or insulin pens or whatever that would be willing to gift it to us. It's the equivalent of, like you said, you were a child in the 70s where you could knock on your neighbor's door and get a cup of sugar.
Right.
If our neighbors know that we are going through a chronic health condition where we need these things just to live, our community, the diabetic online community in itself, is a resource that we can knock on that door, and if they have it, they're willing to gift it, because
Right.
that's what I do every day. I
Yeah.
reach out to people in need and help them,
Yeah.
because I do not want to see anyone go through any of the stressors that I've lived through while
Yeah.
having to manage type 1 diabetes.
Right. Right. And I just feel like all of us as type 1, like, especially online, just we need to all just follow each other just because it's like we need to know each other. We need to, because you feel isolated, when you are not around people who go through what you go through. You kind of feel like different, you know what I mean? Because some people don't know what it is that you have to deal with, but then when you have other people that that they deal with what you deal with, it's kind of like, oh my goodness, like I just met somebody
Right.
today that was a type 1 diabetic, and
It
and
makes
people
you
look
feel
at me,
good.
yeah, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I just met a new friend. Like that's literally how it is. Like we're a community that need each other. They need to lean on each other. That like I said, I'm a person with really big emotions that I cry easily because of this disease and then the other diseases that I deal with, especially because it plays a different role on my body because I'm also a woman who's going through hormonal issues and stuff like that. So I'm like, hey, you might see me cry at the drop of a dime. So yeah, sometimes you just need that person to just be like, okay, I know what you're going through. I was dealing with that yesterday, or and I got through it, or whatever. I mean, somebody who understands what you're going through, and that's it. I think that's just with all diseases. All diseases. You just have to have somebody who knows what it is to live in that type of the same situation that you're going through, But
And that's an avenue that I'm attempting to open up with doing things such as this platform to give
mhm,
people that opportunity to be able to express their truest emotions, their diabetes, the feelings of living with a chronic health condition, because
right,
we are here to destigmatize, we are here to educate, we are here to do everything we can to normalize what is living with a chronic health condition.
yeah,
And Charletta, I commend you on everything that you are doing in this space, everything that you've done for your own family, for your own well-being, because I know that your journey here is nowhere near um, at the finish line, because you have so much here to give to this community. And I'm going to make sure that with everything that I have, that I can make sure that you're able to get your voice out there in the space, because
right.
people need to know you. People
Yeah,
need to
I
know
appreciate it.
me. People need to know us,
Yes,
because we have so much lived experience
yes,
and education and just managing and knowing these chronic health conditions, that we will better the next person.
yes,
So
absolutely.
I thank you for joining me on this
Mhm.
journey, which is living with chronic health conditions, because as I said, this is the Chronically
Yes.
Will podcast, where we hold real conversations with community that need to be heard.
Hmm. Yeah, and I thank you so much for having me. I mean, we need people like you because it's everybody have podcasts. They don't have podcasts that talk about the things like this that we need to talk about in order to help not just ourselves but help other people, and not just with the diseases that we deal with, but this helps you. It's an umbrella that for all diseases. You know what I mean? Because like I said, people need to hear what somebody else is going through so they can not feel like they're alone. And people need to see that, like, okay, this person may not look like they have this, but yeah, they don't need to necessarily feel like they're in a space alone. And I don't know, it's really really a good thing that you're doing this. So I appreciate you for even allowing me to get on here and tell my story. So good, you're doing a good job.